What would you think of me if I told you I will allow you to drive your vehicle on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and sometimes on Saturdays, but other days I will not allow you to do that? Your initial reaction, the normal reaction would be, who the frick do you think you are to speak into my life and tell me what I can or can't do? And that mentality would be correct. And it's based on what we all already know. You own you and I own me. And because I own me and me alone, I have no right to tell you what you can or can't do with your own life. So when I look at the Second Amendment, and I agree with the Second Amendment in principle, but only in reverse or inverse. It says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't look at it so much as you have the right to keep and bear arms. Here's how I look at it. Nobody else on this planet has the right or the legitimate authority to tell you what you can or can't own. So it's less about you have the right to keep and bear arms and more about I don't have the right to tell you what you can or can't keep. And the reason I think this is an important distinction, and it's super important, is because when you start thinking that you have the right to do something, it almost sounds like an allowance. Somebody's allowing you to do something. You're allowed to keep a firearm. You're allowed to keep a handgun. You're allowed to keep an AR-15. You're allowed to keep a machine gun. You're allowed to keep a tank. I'm going to allow you to drive your car Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and sometimes on Saturdays. Allow, really? Well, how about let's look at it from the proper perspective. I don't have the right to tell you what you can or can't do with your property because you own you and I own me, and that's completely inappropriate and completely illegitimate. So if you come at it with nobody has the right to tell you what you can or can't keep or how you can or can't defend yourself, we're getting closer to what reality is. Wouldn't it be strange if I came to your house and said, I don't allow you to use a pencil. Anytime you write something, you have to use a pen. Or I don't allow you to wear a hat when it's a sunny day to keep your nose from being burned. Who the hell do I think I am to say I can allow you to do whatever? I don't have the right to provide you with an allowance for your life in anything. And that would end all argument and all discussion and all interpretation about this right to keep and bear arms. It's not that you have a right to keep and bear arms. It's that I don't have the right to tell you what you can or can't keep. A politician doesn't have the right to tell you what you can or can't keep. And so when people march on Washington and say, please politicians, please political gods, allow us to have the First Amendment rights outlined in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Please allow us to have AR-15s. Please don't take those guns from us. If we looked at it with the proper perspective, everybody would already know that nobody has the right to infringe on your First Amendment or Second Amendment or Fourth Amendment rights or any of those rights. It's not that you have the right to free speech. It's not that you have the right to worship whatever God you want to worship. It's not that you have the right to keep and bear arms. It's not that you have the right to be secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects. It's that I have no right to make you insecure in your person's houses, papers, and effects. I have no right to tell you what you can or can't be armed with. I have no right to tell you what you can or can't say or who you can or can't worship. I don't have that right. It's a huge, huge distinction. And that's where that's where they slide way off course. Because now we open these rights to interpretation, and then we have these Supreme Court justices who say, oh no, in this case right here, we've set a legal precedent where, it's not an infringement if we tell you you can't have a automatic weapon. And people, even the NRA goes, well, those automatic weapons have been illegal since this year right here. So everybody knows that. Illegal? So some governmental parent has said, no, you're not allowed to have fully automatic weapons. And we're going to make that a reality because we wrote down a law, the opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. And if you disobey us, we're going to throw you into a cage. It's ridiculous. It's childish. We're adults. No adult has the right to treat you like they are your parent. Nobody has that right. So it's not so much that we have rights, it's that nobody has the right to tell anybody else what they can or can't do. And where that breaks down is when people start harming other people against their will without their consent. And then we have every right to throw down the evil, because let's face it, in society, there is evil. And one of the basic tenets in society is that evil cannot be tolerated. But the problem is we've played footsie with evil and we've compromised to such an extent. I mean, I know it sounds so cliche, but give an inch, they take a mile. If you open the door of compromise on anything, especially as far as government is concerned, especially as far as lying politicians are concerned, if you open the door just a little bit, they'll stick their foot in that door and they'll crowbar it open, and pretty soon you don't have any more rights. When it's not about the removal of your rights, it's about you don't have the right to tell me what to do. And if you think you do have the right, then why don't you show me where you got those rights? And why is it that none of us have that right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything? Where did those rights come from? Are you a god? Are you above the human race? Because if you're just human like us, then you don't have the right to tell me what I can or can't keep, where I can or can't go, how secure I can be in my person's houses, papers, and effects, what I can or can't say, who am I to worship or not worship. It's more that we don't have a right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. And everybody knows this. This is hardwired into the human psyche. Even psychopaths know this. But I know there are exceptions, because there are some psychopaths and there are some sadomasochists who want people to hurt them because it makes them feel good or whatever. I'm talking about the normal population. The normal, sane population does not want unjust force initiated, started on them from somebody else. You're a peaceful person minding your own business. You're an elderly person at a bus stop, and some young punk comes up here because somebody put him up to it and punches that old man in the stomach or in the face, breaks his jaw. He has no right to do that. No right. It's not so much that the man on the street corner has the right to be safe. It's that other people have no right to come up and harm him without his consent or take his money. And that's where we're on a collision course for destruction with this society. Same thing that happened with Rome and any other empire that ever fell. The people started believing that it's okay as long as you're a government official, as long as you got a shiny badge and you got a really neat looking uniform, you're wearing that costume and you come with the authority of the state, it's okay for you to initiate unjust force. But if somebody else did exactly what you did, Mr. Government Agent, their asses would be rightly thrown into a cage. Because they've transgressed that fundamental principle of humanity. Don't hurt somebody. If you don't want to be hurt by somebody, being a peaceful person, then don't you go out and hurt somebody. The moment you do that, you're a hypocrite. And hypocrites just degrade society. So let me know what you guys think. The basis for this video right here is that it's not so much that you or I have rights, it's that nobody else has the right to infringe on your life. The moment you start hurting somebody, it's like, I've even said this, my right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. It's more like, I have no right to swing my fist and have it anywhere near where your nose begins. It starts with me not having the right. It doesn't start with you having the right not to be hurt. It's about me having no right to hurt you. So somebody can make the argument. Well, it sounds like you're saying the same thing. Okay, this person has the right to keep and bear arms, but you're saying that no, it's not so much that, it's that this person doesn't have the right to keep him from bearing arms. It's a huge difference, because as soon as you start saying that people have rights, then they introduce things like background checks and go, oh, well, look, no. We're not saying you don't have a right to keep and bear arms. We're just saying for you to keep, for you to be able to keep them, for you to be able to even own an arm, we just need to conduct a routine background check by the government. And then you can keep and bear arms, but not until then. We won't let you have that right until we find out that you're not going to harm yourself or somebody else. And that's for us to decide. See, that's where this rights thing breaks down, because now these background checks, they can say that, well, we're still giving you your right. Whereas on the other side of the scale, not only do people not have the right to keep you from bearing arms, they don't have the right to conduct a background check. What if I said to my neighbors, hey, listen, okay, I'm only allowing you to drive your cars Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes on Saturday or Sunday, whichever I choose. You would think I was insane. And you would equally think I was insane if I go, tell you what, you can drive your cars. I'm going to allow you to drive your car every day of the week. Don't worry about it. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm just a good guy, but I'm going to have to conduct a background check. I'm just going to have to run you through my files, make sure you're okay, and then I'll decide whether you can drive 7 days a week. You would think I was totally insane, and yet we accept this from government functionaries day in, day out. It's insane, bizarro world. So let me know what you guys think. I'm for the concept of shall not be infringed, because that's more in keeping with, hey, you don't have the right to infringe on my rights. It's beyond you have the right to keep and bear arms. I don't have the right to tell you what you can or can't keep. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Also, check out over 100 hard-hitting designs in the shirt store, and if you want to support more content, hit me up on Patreon or PayPal. All those links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.